Right, ladies and gents, so let's talk about Sony's Spider-Man and Marvel, because we're starting to get some information now. A lot of new information which you wouldn't have really gotten with previous executives, it seems. But we are getting with this chap, Sanford Panich, a Sony executive, who's actually been pretty vocal here about Marvel, working with Kevin Feige, what the future holds for the Spider-Man property alongside Marvel, which is much more than we've had ever in actuality. I do feel Sony's relationship with Marvel was rocky, and I believe her name was Amy. I can't remember her exact name, but it was rocky at best. There was interviews of them together. She's just saying stuff, and it just looks terrible, awful. This chap clearly knows the PR game. We have quite a lot of reveals here. Information from Kraven to the Sinister Six to future, basically teasers for Venom, teasers for future Marvel integration, teasers for massive Marvel characters that they specifically hold. And this all comes to us from an interview with Variety. So the first interesting tidbit of information that I could find was this one. And I do have to segment it down because the interviewer, the article writer, contextualizes the discussion. So apologies for that, but I do have to because it's not a straight interview question answer, unfortunately. But when director David Leitch and Brad Pitt told Sony Pictures Motion Picture Group president Sanford Panich that they were keen to cast Aaron Taylor-Johnson for the ensemble thriller Bullet Train, Panich wasn't super aware of the British actor. But this goes into the information of him now obviously being cast as Kraven. It was I had to look him up kind of thing. Great that he's honest at the very least. I didn't have a lot of familiarity, and then we start watching these incredible dailies from Bullet Train, and you can really see the full-on action star. He's charming and he's funny, and he's holding his own against Brad Pitt. A lot of people can't do that. So obviously teasing his upcoming role as Kraven. Fairly PR central there, but nice nonetheless. And that's interesting. But then this is even more interesting, ladies and gents. So this discussion here is all about Marvel, the characters that they have, Spider-Man, the whole Spider-Verse situation, right? To date. None of these movies, however, explicitly involve Spider-Man, or at least the Tom Holland version of the character, who is still a part of Sony's unprecedented agreement to share the iconic web-slinger with Disney's Marvel Studios, the latest and, on paper at least, final film in that partnership. They're teasing a lot more. They're teasing this to continue and continue. So Spider-Man No Way Home is set to premiere this December, but Panich makes a point of separating Spidey from its other superhero titles. We don't really think of our 900 characters as the Spideyverse, he says. Interesting. We have a Marvel Universe. Okay. The volume of characters we have, you know. Wait until you see this next Venom. You don't miss Spider-Man. And he pauses. It'll be exciting if they do meet, right? Oh, the teasers. This Sanford Panich. He loves a good tease. So, look, what can we glean from that? Well, Spider-Man No Way Home is supposedly the last in this agreement. I think that's definitely going to continue. I think that is all but confirmed from that, and also some more information that is stated further down the line. Venom, teasers for Venom. It doesn't look like Spider-Man's going to be in there at all. He's literally saying you don't miss Spider-Man. But it also is teasing the fact that there's other characters turning up. Now, whether they are Spider-Man characters or not, they all are, because the 900 characters are Spider-Man based characters. But whether they are them characters or not being associated to Spider-Man is basically what they're trying to do here, is disassociate those characters from Spider-Man to make this universe live for itself, basically. And it's not a bad thing. It's pretty smart that they're trying to do that. But then we get this, right? And there's a lot in here. So there's a lot to unpack. So Panich understands that the inherent tension in this convoluted nexus of intellectual property has engendered confusion and frustration amongst fans. While he remains circumspect about any details, Panich is also candid that he expects that tension will soon be resolved somehow, and that greenlighting Kraven, a character who's also tussled with Venom in the comics, fills in another piece of that puzzle. They're really trying to separate these characters from Spider-Man, which is smart. He says there actually is a plan. Hurrah! Finally a studio with a plan. I think now maybe it's getting a little more clear for people where we're headed, and I think when No Way Home comes out, even more will be revealed. You're doing loads of Spider-Man spin-off films, and you're going to do a Spider-Verse, and loads of different versions, and I mean, that sounds about right, doesn't it? It'll be interesting nonetheless, like I say. But I find these comments reassuring. Always interesting, but again, reassuring firmly. When asked what the future holds for Spidey and Marvel Studios, Panich sounds an optimistic, if vague, note invoking Marvel Studios chief Kevin Feige. Now this is obviously much better than previous relationships just based on this. And they don't even have to have a good relationship. This is just going to create a good relationship. It's just stroking someone's ego here. The great thing is we have this very excellent relationship with Kevin, he says. There's an incredible sandbox there to play with. We want those MCU movies to be absolutely huge because that's great for us and our Marvel characters. And I think that's the same thing on their side. But we have a great relationship. There's lots of opportunities, I think, that are going to happen. So furthering this connection that they have, this relationship, the unprecedented contractual support that they have for one another, which is quite crazy, to be fair. Marvel has a good deal out of this with respect to Spider-Man, because Sony could just absolutely just trundle along. Those Spider-Man films have always done consistently well at the box office. So it's interesting that they are now teasing more working relationship further forward. But then we get this. This is the final thing, which I think is really surprising. And is really what's kind of teasing what's to come. It's tough, because I think these projects are the kind of things we have to work on in the dark, he says. They're not ready until they're ready. So, teasing the future projects. Kraven is a great example, because we just didn't rush it. We could have made that 3+ years ago. It's just now that the script's awesome. JC was the right choice, and we found the movie star because it was just kismet. I'm watching this other movie and realizing that could be the perfect casting. And as for the Sinister Six, the interviewer obviously says, it would be very cool, wouldn't it? After laughing. I think that's where they're going. They are looking to separate the characters off, have their own Spider-Man universe, but build another universe that stands on its own from Spider-Man, that Spider-Man can then come into to play. I think that's where they're going. But also still teasing a great working relationship with Marvel. So this should be beneficial all round. This is something we can all probably agree with and go, yep, cool, I'm on board. But what do you guys think? Please do let me know down below. Hope you had a fantastic Saturday. If you are new here, you stayed this long, please do give that video a like, or this video a like, because you clearly enjoyed the content. And guys, returning subscribers, things like that, please do check out memberships. They're open on the channel now. There's a link in the description box, as well as a link to my second channel. Would love to have you guys over there. I'm rebuilding a rally car channel. Anyway, guys, take care.